This is In Case You Missed It. Let's get straight into round 7. And while they certainly saved the best game until last, Collingwood has broken the hearts of Brisbane fans, clinching a 7-point win in what was an unbelievable game at the Gabba on Sunday. The plucky Lions had plenty of tricks thanks to Charlie Cameron taking it right up to Collingwood for 4 quarters. The loss, though, of skipper Scott Pendlebury to a right ankle injury, not helping the Pies as they staved off a fast-finishing Lions side led by Dane Zorko, who rose to the challenge after weeks of succumbing to the tag. And with 2 minutes left, a captain's goal from Dane Beams had the game all-time tied up. 60 seconds later, Pies rising star Jaden Stevenson became the hero.
Stevenson, and it's over. Phenomenal finish by Collingwood. And they've broken his heart.
Poor Chris Fagan. Well, the Tigers are back on top of the ladder after a 77-point demolition of the Dockers at the MCG, and that's despite losing their skipper Trent Cotchin to a knee injury before the first bounce. No Cotchin, though, no worries for the Premiers. The Tigers dominating from the get-go. Freo captain Nat Fyfe tried his best. He leapt high in marking contests and even went into the ruck, but his 33 touches and 12 clearances were no match for Richmond. The Tigers destroying the Dockers with an 8-goal final term. The talking point, though, 2 score reviews, both Richmond goals overturned by fingernails. The first robbing Dusty Martin of a goal. The second one certainly had the coach up in arms, especially after his criticism of the system last week.
For respondents on that last week, I reckon. Probably not much has changed, would be fair to say. Didn't notice that door was locked, though, when I walked past. I'm not sure what they were doing, but anyway.
Now, while they were both correct calls, the timing and process will call the score review into question, giving this goal from Roo Billy Hartung wasn't overruled, despite the vision showing Swan Jared McVeigh likely got a finger on it. All right, time now to take a look at what's making news on social media. And who could forget this from grand final day last year? Tigers premiership star Jack Riewoldt on stage with the Killers. Well, the band was back in Melbourne over the weekend. Riewoldt taking to Instagram to post a happy reunion snap. Isn't that nice? Alrighty, a workman-like Melbourne has got the job done over a wasteful St Kilda with a 39-point win at Etihad Stadium. With a history of concussion, there were fears for young Saint Paddy McCartan after a head clash with Neville Jetta, but thankfully the former #1 pick played on. First-year ruckman Rowan Marshall was also a little worse for wear after receiving a bloody gash to his head. And while the Saints frittered away their chances, the Demons didn't. Jesse Hogan kicked 3 majors and had 25 touches, but may come under match review scrutiny for this. Did he take a dive? Well, you decide. That aside, the D's midfield was dominant through Max Gawn, a resurgent Angus Brayshaw, and reigning best and fairest Clayton Oliver had 36 disposals, 9 clearances and a goal in a best-on-ground performance.
Thought about handballing it through, kicked it instead.
Moving on to a thrilling game at the SCG on Saturday night now, and a match-winning goal from a rejuvenated Mason Wood has lifted North Melbourne to an upset 2-point victory over the Swans. In his first game for the season, after injury woes and in different form, Wood kicked the opening major of the game and then sealed the shock win with this goal in what is a goal of the round contender.
For number 4, and the lead for the Kangas. What a return for Mason Wood.
Now, the Swans tried desperately to regain the lead. Tom Papley and Dane Rampey both with chances, but in the end, it was a famous victory for the Roos. To one of the big talking points of round 7 now, and Tom Hawkins faces a nervous wait ahead of Tuesday night's tribunal appearance after being charged with making intentional contact with an umpire during the Cats' 61-point win against the Giants on Friday night. Now, Hawkins pushed away umpire Dean Margette's left hand in the second quarter. It wasn't overly aggressive or malicious. The incident occurring after a 50-metre penalty was given against the spearhead for a late knee to the back of Nick Haynes in the second quarter. Now, the conduct was assessed by match review officer Michael Christian as intentional. No early play is possible. Hawkins playing it down as an accident.
Initially it was an opposition's hand, so didn't mean to make any contact with him, but yes, apologised to him after, obviously accidental.
Well, we'll have to wait until Tuesday night for that outcome. On to the Blues now, and Carlton is still winless after it was blown away by the Crows by 55 points at Adelaide Oval on Saturday night. The Blues started the clash as the biggest outsiders for the season so far. Boom draftee Paddy Dow's first AFL goal kept them in touch early, but the Crows skipped away. Mitch McGovern finishing with 5 goals and a Mark of the Year contender.
One of the great highlights of our game, Richo.
Unfortunately for Blues forward Levi Casbolt, he was carted off to hospital after the game with broken ribs and damage to the lining of his lung. The Blues say he'll miss 4 weeks, and the Crows, well, they expect to get back skipper Taylor Walker from a hamstring injury and gun midfielder Rory Sloane from a foot complaint for next week's showdown with Port Adelaide. Hot and cold time, and West Coast are arguably the hottest side in the competition at the moment. Their win over the Power, their 6th in a row. The Eagles went into the season with many expecting them to be big sliders in 2018, but so far they've proved the doubters wrong. They lost gun midfielder Luke Shuey to a nasty-looking hamstring injury in the opening minutes, but they were never really troubled by a disappointing Port. Josh Kennedy kicked 4 goals, while Jack Darling should pocket Brownlow votes after a dominant display.
The free kick is paid, advantage taken by West Coast. Darling just goes himself and he rolls it through for a goal.
This is just a brilliant individual effort.
From hot to cold, and the Bombers are in huge trouble. Their season is almost completely shot after another poor showing, this time against Hawthorn. They started well, but for the 4th game in a row, the Dons' 3rd term let them down. The Hawks piling on 6 straight goals, including a controversial one right on the buzzer of 3/4 time.
Yes, I think it better.
Take it, all clear.
All's given the goal.
And Bombers coach John Worsfold says some players will be having nightmares after their bad run of 3rd quarters this season. All right, on to the Bulldogs now, and they look like they've started to get a roll on, winning back-to-back games for the first time since round 20 last year, and that was without captain Easton Wood and star Marcus Bontempelli. The Dogs pipping a gallant Gold Coast outfit who were missing both co-captains Tom Lynch and Stephen May by 9 points in Ballarat. Suns debutant Braden Crossley, whose facial hair makes him look a little like Chopper Reid, made an immediate impression with this bone-jarring bump on Toby McLean. But with the blustery conditions playing havoc with both sides' skills, the Dogs just had that extra bit of class in the end.
Is that Williams going for goal? Yes, it is! And the Dogs fans are ecstatic.
Play of the round time, and birds are starting to make a regular appearance on In Case You Missed It. You might remember back in round 5 when a seagull came off 2nd best after a run-in with a stray footy during the clash between North Melbourne and Hawthorn. Now, while the gutsy gull shook off his wonky wing to take to the skies once again, a feathered friend of a different kind, a pesky pigeon if you don't mind, got some revenge at the MCG. Docker Brandon Matera, an unsuspecting victim.
That damn Richmond pigeon out there, Jason. Damn pigeon.
Goal kicking across the league has been bad enough this season without being put off by a pigeon. All right, let's take a quick look at the ladder now, and the Tigers' 5th win in a row has them sitting on top of the table after a huge percentage-boosting win. West Coast, Adelaide and Hawthorn round out the top 4, the Brews and North in 7th and 8th. To the bottom half, the D's and Power outside the 8 on percentage, while the Lions and Blues are still winless after 7 rounds. And that is In Case You Missed It done for another week. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.